snow, ice, and silence. For many people, that is all Siberia is, a blank white space at the edge of the map, a land of exile and endless winter. But Siberia is a continent inside a country, stretching from the Arctic Ocean to the Pacific and from the Urals to the Far East. Within it lie tundra and taiga, volcanoes and geysers, deep lakes, ports and cities, nomads on the ice, and miners in the permafrost. In this film, we follow a line through that world. We begin on the high Arctic frontier, in Yamal and its ports, among reindeer herders and industrial cities like Norilsk. From there, we cross into Yakutia, to Yakutsk and Oymyakon, where cold becomes a way of life, before turning east to the Pacific frontier of Magadan and the volcanic coasts of Kamchatka. Then we dive inland again, to the stone plateaus and rock towers of the interior, the depths of Lake Baikal and the high valleys of Altai, ending in the Siberian heartland of Novosibirsk and the old gateway city of Tobolsk. Siberia may be Earth's deep freeze, but it is also a mirror of how life adapts at the edge of what seems possible. To see it clearly, we begin where the land thins and the wind has nothing left to hit but snow and sea, the Arctic edge of Siberia. Far to the north, where trees disappear and daylight turns pale and short, the land hardens into ice. Here, on the edge of the Arctic, our journey into Siberia's deep freeze begins. The Yamal Peninsula is a long finger of land reaching into the Arctic Ocean, a strip of tundra between gray sea and white sky. From above, it looks almost empty. Frozen rivers, pale lakes, and a flat horizon. In winter, the sun barely lifts itself above that line, washing the snow in a cold, weak light. On the ground, the wind has nothing to stop it, so it runs unhindered across the plains, carving ripples into the snow. Roads appear as thin, dark lines, carrying trucks and machines to gas fields that glow like islands of orange at night. Clusters of towers, pipelines, and storage tanks stand alone on the ice, humming in a silence that could swallow a city. Yamal is one of the engines of modern Russia, sending natural gas from beneath the permafrost to homes thousands of kilometers away. Yet everything here rests on a fragile base, ground that stays solid only as long as it stays frozen. Beyond the last lights of the gas fields, another presence moves across the tundra, drawing us toward the people who have known this land far longer. Far from the glow of the gas plants, small clusters of dark conical tents stand alone in the wind. These are the camps of the Nenets, nomadic reindeer herders who follow their animals across Yamal in long seasonal loops. Their chums rise from the snow like smoke-dark teepees, wrapped in hides and anchored against storms that can erase tracks in minutes. life here is measured in migrations. Families pack their world onto wooden sleds, hitch them to reindeer, and move camp again and again, chasing pasture and safe ice. Children learn early how to harness animals and read the sky, because in a place where roads are suggestions and temperatures fall far below -40, the reindeer are transport, clothing, food, even shelter. As the herds drift south, the White Plains slowly begins to change, and ahead the tundra starts to thicken into the first scattered lines of forest. Leave the open tundra behind, and the land suddenly grows vertical. Thin, dark trunks rise from the snow, and the horizon is replaced by a wall of trees, the Siberian taiga in winter. From above, it looks like a frozen ocean of spruce and pine, waves of forest rolling in every direction. Hunters, loggers, and trappers move under the canopy, following tracks that vanish after each new storm. This is the largest forest on Earth, a greenbelt turned white for half the year, and hidden deep within it, in a pocket of permafrost and smoke, stands one of the unlikeliest cities on the planet. Norilsk rises out of the snow like a mirage of concrete and smoke. Rows of apartment blocks stand shoulder to shoulder, facades streaked by wind and ice, while behind them, chimneys pierce low clouds. This is one of the northernmost cities on Earth, built because the ground beneath it is rich in metal. Smelters and processing plants run day and night, turning the polar night orange and pushing fumes over a landscape already hardened by cold. Tens of thousands of people live in this climate, riding buses through blowing snow and sending children to school when the air outside can freeze skin in seconds. Norilsk began as a labor camp, a place where prisoners were sent to dig ore out of the permafrost. Today, it is a permanent city planted in an uncertain landscape, its foundations sunk into ground that must never be allowed to thaw, and the metals pulled from beneath its streets travel north along the Yenisei River toward a lonely Arctic port. If you're enjoying this journey into Earth's deep freeze, consider subscribing so you don't miss the rest of Siberia's story. At the mouth of the Yenisei, where the river finally runs out of land, sits Dudinka, a small port clinging to the edge of the Taimyr Peninsula. Cranes stand above the docks like frozen insects, their arms reaching over ships locked in ice. For a few short months each year, when the river flows and the sea loosens its grip, the harbor roars to life as cargo moves in and out of Siberia's interior. Dock workers guide containers and rail cars in bitter winds. their breath hanging in the air as metals and supplies change hands on a shore that feels like the end of the world. When winter closes in, the water hardens, the ships grow still, and Dudinka waits for the next thaw, a last outpost between Norilsk and the open Arctic. Yakutia is a land where winter stops being a season and becomes the constant background of life. Here, cold is not an exception, it's the rule. Yakutsk rises from the frozen banks of the Lena River, a dense cluster of concrete and glass in a world of ice. In winter, the air fills with a pale fog, and the city seems to float inside its own breath. Streetlights glow through the haze, outlining tower blocks, smokestacks, and the slow movement of cars along snow-choked roads. Life here continues, even when the temperature drops below -40 and keeps falling. People wrap themselves in layers of fur and synthetic armor, faces half hidden behind scarves and hoods. Children trudge to school on paths carved between snowbanks, while market stalls steam with hot food and breath as shoppers haggle in clouds of vapor. Yakutsk is often called the coldest major city on Earth, with winter temperatures plunging to -50 degrees Celsius and below. The ground beneath its streets is permafrost, frozen soil that cannot be allowed to thaw, so houses stand on stilts and pipes run above ground like exposed veins. Nearly 300,000 people live on this fragile foundation, an urban island built on ice. And deeper into Yakutia lies a village that makes even Yakutsk's cold feel almost gentle. Oymyakon is a small village tucked into a valley of low mountains. Wooden houses huddled around a narrow road and a frozen river. Smoke rises straight up from chimneys into the still air, then freezes and hangs above the rooftops like a second layer of cloud. On the coldest mornings, metal snaps, breath turns to crystals, and even daylight feels brittle. Winters here plunge far below -50 degrees, and some of the lowest inhabited temperatures on Earth were measured in this valley. Cars are left running so their engines will not die, livestock stays close to warm barns, and people move quickly between doorways, trusting thick fur and routine more than technology. For the few hundred residents, this isn't a stunt. It is simply life at the edge of what the human body can endure. And from this frozen basin, the map stretches east toward the Pacific coast and the port of Magadan. At Siberia's eastern edge, the land finally meets the Pacific. Cold harbors, rusted piers, and volcanic coasts shaped by exile industry and fire beneath the ice. Magadan clings to the shore of the Sea of Okhotsk, a gray city of concrete and cranes facing cold water. Hills rise behind it, streaked with snow and low clouds, while waves slap against a working harbor. On overcast days, sea and sky merge into one dull sheet, broken only by ships at anchor and the slow movement of port machinery. From the streets, the city feels ordinary at first glance. Buses crawl along icy roads. People hurry between apartment blocks. Fishermen mend nets on the pier when the wind allows. But beneath this routine lies a heavier story that never quite leaves the shore. For decades, Magadan was one of the main gateways to the Gulag, the port where ships unloaded prisoners bound for labor camps in the interior. Monuments on the hills look down over the harbor, reminders of those who never returned from the cold. Today, cargo and fuel move through the same docks, and the road north and east leads to an even lonelier frontier, Chukotka. Chukotka spreads out as a patchwork of tundra, low hills, and broken coastline at the far northeastern edge of Siberia. Villages sit like colored Lego bricks against the brown and white earth, rows of apartment blocks, and rusting warehouses facing an icy sea. The winters are long and dark, with storms that slam the coast and bury roads in drifting snow. Supply ships and planes are lifelines here, bringing food, fuel, and mail to communities that would otherwise be cut off for months. Indigenous Chukchi and Yupik people share this land with the remnants of Soviet outposts, their herds, boats, and small shops woven into the skeleton of abandoned infrastructure. Once, miners and soldiers were flown in to work in camps scattered across the tundra. When the mines closed, many left. North of these settlements, the shoreline bends toward one of Russia's northernmost ports, a town that watches over the Arctic Sea, Pevek. If you'd like to keep traveling across these remote edges of the world with us, hit subscribe and stay with the journey. Pevek sits on a low rise above the East Siberian Sea. A grid of streets and concrete blocks faces a shallow, ice-choked bay. In winter, ships lie trapped in the ice, their hulls wrapped in snow while cranes and piers stand silent under a pale sky. When the brief Arctic summer arrives, icebreakers cut channels, tankers line up, and workers in heavy gear move between ship and shore. Pevek is now a key stop on the Northern Sea Route, a corridor that shortens voyages between Europe and Asia whenever the ice retreats. For the people here, the town's heartbeat follows the arrival and departure of ships. And beyond their breakwaters, the sea lane bends south toward a different frontier, the smoking valleys of Kamchatka. The Valley of Geysers lies hidden within Kamchatka's mountains, a narrow green gorge where the earth seems to breathe. Steam rises from the riverbanks, curling around rocks and birch trees, while clouds drift low over ridges dusted with snow. Jets of boiling water erupt from vents in the ground, some in sudden bursts, others in steady pulses that send plumes many meters into the air. Pools shimmer in impossible shades of blue and green, their surfaces rippling with heat, even as patches of snow cling to the slopes nearby. Few people reach this place. Access is difficult, often only by helicopter, and landslides have reshaped the valley more than once, reminding visitors that the landscape itself is unstable. Kamchatka lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, and here the planet's crust is thin enough for its inner heat to break the surface. Follow this volcanic arc south, and the land fractures again into the sea. It forms a long chain of storm-beaten islands, the Kurils. The Kuril Islands stretch like a broken bridge between Kamchatka and Japan. A string of volcanic peaks rising from the Pacific. Slopes plunge straight into deep water, and black sand beaches curve beneath cliffs streaked with mist and cloud. On restless days, waves slam into the rocks, sending white spray high into the air, while low clouds race past crater rims. Small towns and fishing villages cling to the few sheltered bays, their harbors crowded with trawlers that head out whenever the weather allows. These islands exist because the Pacific Plate is sliding beneath the Yakutsk Plate, forcing magma upward and reshaping the archipelago with each eruption and quake. For residents, earthquakes and distant plumes become part of the background, as ordinary as fog and rain. Sail west from these exposed coasts and the seas grow calmer, guiding ships toward a different kind of harbor on the mainland, Vladivostok. Vladivostok spills over a series of hills around Golden Horn Bay, its streets climbing and falling between harbor and ridge. Bridges leap across the water in sweeping arcs, linking peninsulas and islands, while ships slide quietly beneath their cables. From above, the city looks like a meeting point. Cargo vessels at anchor, ferries docking, trains waiting on tracks that run in straight from the west. On the ground, trams rattle past old stone facades and newer glass towers, and pedestrians wind their way up steep staircases between neighborhoods. Founded in the 19th century as an outpost on the Pacific, Vladivostok became the eastern terminus of the Trans-Siberian Railway, the place where a week of steel rails finally meets the sea. During the Soviet era, it was a closed city, a naval stronghold hidden from foreign eyes. Today, it feels like a mix of Europe and Asia, with Russian, Korean, Chinese, and Japanese influences sharing the same hillsides. From here, the tracks turn back inland, climbing once more toward Siberia's interior of plateaus, forests, and hidden lakes. Leaving the Pacific coast behind, the journey bends back into the continent, toward stone plateaus, forested cliffs, and a lake that feels like an inland sea. Putarana Plateau is a vast tableland of dark rock and water, a maze of cliffs and lakes far from any road. From the air, it looks like a cracked plate, its edges broken into inlets and sheer walls that drop straight into cold water. On the ground, the scale closes in. Waterfalls fall in white ribbons from the plateau's edges, vanishing into narrow gorges where only the roar of water moves. A few rangers, scientists, and rare groups of tourists arrive by helicopter or river, stepping out into a silence that feels older than any village. Putarana was born from ancient lava floods that cooled into thick layers of basalt, later carved by ice into terraces, canyons, and thousands of lakes. Protected as a vast nature reserve, it is one of the largest roadless regions on the planet. And from these stone steps of the north, we turn south toward rock that rises in towers above the forests near Krasnoyarsk, the Stolby. Just outside Krasnoyarsk, the forest suddenly grows teeth. Granite pillars, the Stolby, push up through the trees, their rounded tops and cracked faces rising above the canopy. Locals treat this stone forest as both playground and refuge. On weekends, hikers and climbers follow narrow paths, scrambling up warm rock in summer and snow-dusted ledges in winter. For generations, people have given the pillars names, shared stories, and built a quiet climbing culture around them. Geologists say these towers are the exposed heart of ancient magma, revealed as softer rock eroded away. For the city below, they are a symbol of escape. In less than an hour, streets and traffic give way to wind and granite, and following the rivers east from these stone guardians, we reach a body of water so large it feels like an inland sea, Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal lies long and narrow between mountain ridges, a strip of deep blue water that looks more like a sea than a lake. On calm days, the surface turns to glass, reflecting cliffs, clouds, and the thin line of the horizon so clearly that boats seem to float in the sky. In winter, that glass hardens into ice. Cracks shoot across it like frozen lightning, and trapped air bubbles hang in clear blue layers below the surface. Skaters and cars trace careful paths over the lake, while fishermen cluster around drilled holes, their tents scattered across the white expanse. Baikal is the deepest and one of the oldest lakes on Earth, holding more fresh water than any other lake. Its depths shelter unique life found nowhere else, including the Nerpa, the only true freshwater seal. For many, the lake feels less like a landscape and more like a presence, a silent inland ocean at the heart of Siberia. Villages along the shore live with Baikal as both neighbor and provider, drawing fish from its waters and visitors to its viewpoints. Roads and rails cling to the mountainsides above the waves, tracing a thin human edge around this immense body of water. And out in the middle of Baikal, one island stands apart as its spiritual center, Ulkan. Ulkan Island rises from the middle of Baikal in low hills, dusty tracks, and cliffs that fall straight into clear water. Wooden houses line a few main streets, their boards faded by sun and wind. On a rocky cape, shamanic poles wrapped in bright ribbons look out over ice in winter and deep blue waves in summer. Life here is simple. Guest houses, small shops, fishing boats pulled onto gravel shores, and travelers who fall quiet at viewpoints. From this sacred rock in the heart of Baikal, our journey turns south toward the rising ridges of the Altai Mountains. From the deep blue of Baikal, the land lifts again into ridges and passes. South and east, the mountains of Altai rise like a new world at Siberia's edge. Lake Teletskoye lies long and narrow between steep, forested slopes, its surface often dark as metal under a low sky. On misty mornings, clouds hang halfway down the hillsides, and the water turns to a smooth gray mirror, broken only by the wake of a slow boat. Waterfalls thread down the cliffs in thin white lines, vanishing into the lake with a distant hiss. Villages sit quietly at the shore, wooden houses gathered around small jetties where boats creak against their moorings. In summer, locals run ferries and tour boats, guiding visitors along the length of the lake. In winter, the world narrows to snow-covered roofs, smoke from chimneys, and the crunch of steps on frozen paths. For people here, Teletskoye is both road and pantry, carrying them to neighbors and feeding them with fish pulled from its depths. Fed by dozens of rivers and streams and draining into the Ob Basin, Teletskoye is sometimes called the Little Baikal of Altai for its depth and cold clarity. Where Baikal feels vast and oceanic, this lake is intimate, a quiet gateway into higher valleys, and at its far end, the water escapes into a river that leads us into one of Altai's wildest corridors, the Cholishman Valley. The Cholishman Valley opens like a crack in the mountains, a long green corridor cut by a fast, cold river. Cliffs rise steeply on both sides, their faces broken into ledges, scree slopes, and patches of forest that cling to any pocket of soil. Dirt tracks wind along the water's edge, fording small streams and skirting rockfalls. Scattered along the valley floor are campsites, yurts, and simple wooden houses, smoke drifting from chimneys in the evenings. Shepherds move their animals across meadows, and old trucks bump slowly along the track, carrying supplies and families between scattered homesteads. Travelers arrive in off-road vehicles or on foot, trading city streets for a landscape where phone signals vanish and time stretches with the length of the valley. The Chulishman was carved by glaciers and fed by countless streams. A classic U-shaped valley, polished by ice, and now filled with grass, stones, and the constant rush of water. It feels like a place only partially tamed, where human presence is still light on the land. And along one slope, the valley's calm surface suddenly grows strange, sprouting pillars of earth and stone, the akurum mushrooms. On a steep hillside above the Chulishman, the earth has been carved into a small forest of stone. Tall pillars of packed soil and rock rise from the slope, each crowned with a heavy boulder that seems too large to balance there. From a distance, they look like a row of giant mushrooms frozen mid-growth. Hikers pick their way between the columns, dwarfed by shapes that could be mistaken for ruins or sculptures. Wind whistles through the gaps, and pebbles trickle down the loose ground as boots disturb the surface. For the few local families and guides who live nearby, the mushrooms are a familiar landmark, one more stop on a landscape of pastures and passes. These formations were shaped by erosion, rain and meltwater, washing away softer material, while the protective capstones shield the columns beneath. Similar hoodoos exist in deserts and badlands around the world, but here they stand above a green Siberian valley, another reminder that Altai rarely fits the cliches. Beyond these fragile towers, the mountains rise higher still, drawing us toward their snow-capped heart, Belukha. Belukha towers above the surrounding ridges, twin summits catching the first and last light of the day. Glaciers spill down from its flanks in wide tongues of ice, cracking into crevasses and feeding milky rivers that snake through the valleys below. On clear mornings, the sky around the peak is a hard, deep blue, and the air feels thin and sharp. In the foothills, trails wind past alpine meadows, larch forests, and rivers crossed by simple plank bridges. Horse caravans carry supplies to distant camps, and trekkers shoulder their packs and head toward viewpoints where the mountain reveals itself between ridgelines. For local villagers, guides, and pilgrims, Belukha is more than just a high point on the map. It is a presence that shapes stories and journeys. Belukha is the highest mountain in Siberia and part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site that links Russia, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and China. Legends connect it with Shambhala or other hidden realms, imagining it as a gateway between worlds. And even without the myths, there is something undeniably magnetic about its white slopes and silent glaciers. From its flanks, the headwaters of the Katun and other rivers begin their long journey north and west. Those rivers will eventually reach the plains and the cities that grew beside them, carrying a trace of Altai's ice into the heart of Siberia. As we leave these sacred peaks behind, the path bends toward streets, bridges, and old Kremlins, the human centers that anchor this vast land to the edge of Europe. Between the taiga's dark forests and the open sweep of the steppe, Siberia gathers into cities where millions live ordinary lives in an extraordinary land. Novosibirsk spreads along the Ob River, a broad ribbon of water crossed by long steel bridges. Apartment blocks and office towers rise in clusters, their windows glowing warm against the winter dusk. Trams and cars draw bright lines through the snow, while the river itself lies frozen, holding the lights of the city on its surface. On icy mornings, commuters walk with heads down, collars up, crossing wide avenues, or waiting at bus stops in heavy coats. Markets fill with fruit, bread, and fish, steam curling up from food stalls as people bargain and talk. In summer, the riverbanks turn green, and families stroll along embankments or sit on benches watching the water move past. This city did not grow slowly over centuries. It exploded into existence when the Trans-Siberian Railway needed a bridge across the Ob in the late 19th century. What began as a workers' settlement became the largest city in Siberia, a center of industry, science, and culture that feels more like a metropolis than a frontier outpost. Yet west of its streets lies a different kind of Siberian story, written in stone and river bluffs at one of the region's oldest Russian towns, Tobolsk. Tobolsk stands high above the Irtysh River, its white Kremlin walls and onion domes looking down over a sprawl of wooden houses and narrow streets. From the hilltop, the landscape opens into wide plains and distant forest, a view that once marked the edge of the known world for Russian settlers. In the lower town, life moves at a quieter pace. Children play in courtyards, smoke rises from chimneys, and cars thread through old neighborhoods where log houses lean slightly with age. Tourists climb the path to the Kremlin, walk between churches and towers, and look out over the river that carried explorers, exiles, and traders eastward into Siberia. Founded in the 16th century, Tobolsk became the first major Russian stronghold beyond the Urals, a launching point for further expansion, and a place of exile for those the state wanted to forget. Standing on its walls today, it feels like a hinge between two worlds. Europe behind you, Siberia ahead. And from here, our own journey turns outward, away from any single town or valley, to see this vast land again as a whole. We have crossed a hidden continent, from the emptiness of Yamal and the Nenets on the tundra, through Norilsk's smokestacks and the cold of Yakutsk and Oymyakon, to Pacific ports and the bridges of Vladivostok. Then we turned inland over plateaus and Baikal's ice, along Altai's lakes and valleys, to the white summits of Beluga, ending in Novosibirsk and the Kremlin of Tobolsk. Siberia is more than cold and distance. It is fire and ice, waterfalls and glaciers, ports and plateaus. A place where nomads, miners, fishermen, and city dwellers find ways to endure a climate that seems designed to push people away. Seen from afar, this may look like the edge of the map, but for millions it is home, and for the rest of us, it is a reminder of how much of our planet we don't know. Siberia is not a blank space. It is a world in itself, frozen, fragile, and unforgettable. Thanks for watching. See you on the next journey.